we do it at 6:06. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of August 22, 2017.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes from August 22nd, 2017, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Additions and deletions, we would need to add common road restrictions under new business. And under other business, a discussion about VLTC and the current bill in the legislature under law enforcement.
I'm sorry, that's under correspondence or new business?
No, that's under new business.
Under new business, Common Road and.
Oh, excuse me, not other business, not new business.
Okay, VLC.
Is there any other additions or deletions?
And the highway report, update on roadside mowing, which I believe hasn't happened yet.
I'm gonna add update on roadside mowing.
Yep, we can do that.
Okay. Anything else? All right. Then. Okay, let's let him get in the room.
Yep.
All right, so then moving on to the Bridge 42 bid openings. Now, I'm gonna do this backwards.
Oh,
I'm gonna do this backwards. This first one is from Cold River.
Craig got another lieutenant. Got another lieutenant.
yeah, probably. Yeah, you can,
If I can get
I
the,
can give you.
hopefully I know to get it done.
You done one?
God, I hope they went all the way at the end, but they didn't.
Sorry.
Okay, Cold River. Let's see what we got here. I'm pretty sure. I'm not certain that we're not looking at a build in place.
Okay, well. Okay, so that's Cold River.
This is Cold River.
Okay.
Okay. I'll flip it all together and you can flip through it, but I think that's what we're looking at with that one. Then we have Daniels. I don't know how they got all this paper in this envelope.
Just rip the envelope, you don't need to keep the envelope. Well, you've got
You never know.
a date stamp on it, date of time.
Okay. Got multiple copies, that's why it's so thick. Okay, I think again, we have a build in place on Daniels. You wanna cook it that way, or do it that way, who wants it?
You got a couple copies, so you can probably.
Well, they could split that one, yeah, there's 2 copies at least. And the last one here,
Send one down.
Clark. See how easy that opens? Okay. I take it since I can ask Archie, since he's sitting here, this is a moving place bridge as opposed to building place?
What's that?
Is this a move into place bridge or a build in place bridge?
I moved in place.
A move in place, okay. Alright. So we've got apples and oranges here, guys. And I'm not really sure what you want to do with the differences, because we can't really look at the build in place without knowing what the specs are on it, and I didn't see any included with either one of those packages. As opposed to build according to specs from Beck. So what's your pleasure?
I would recommend that we take some time to review each of all of them together and maybe get some consultation on it, find out what we're looking at.
Okay, that's fine by me. Does anybody want to make a motion to that effect?
I mean, I don't know that you're gonna be able to make a decision at the table here tonight, kind of.
No, we should probably have,
I mean, all the packets are complete. I will say that. They're absolutely all complete, so
There
they're all.
were three, I think 5 contractors showed up, and there were 3 bid returns.
Yeah.
Right.
Just for that reference.
this one stands. And the bid Daniel says it's bridge as designed by Beck, but it.
So they're
I can't-
both, they're
But there's
both,
also,
Yeah, I
an
can't
alter-
tell.
there's three
Right.
different prices.
Right.
right.
I'm just looking at an asterisk on the Daniel's quote where it says, start of project is dependent upon availability of steel.
Right.
Do we have a shortage of steel today?
We might. They're building bridges down in Florida, I understand.
Yeah,
Here in Townshend or worldwide?
Well, none of it is made in Townsend.
We'll go worldwide then.
Well, I said you know, you're talking about two building places. Did we ever actually talk about what was going to happen if the road was closed for that long to actually build a bridge in place? We
Depends
never-
how long it takes to build it in place, but I would assume it takes considerably longer.
Longer than moving one in
Well,
into place.
moving components in 2 or 3.
well, the one that Beck had, on that
Section.
plan, she had one that they would actually erect in place. With the girders and corrugated. plastic.
Steel or concrete?
Steel. And then we also had the concrete ones that we could move in place. They're also on the bids
Okay.
Yeah, I would move that we table this until we can have someone who knows what they're looking at look at it.
So who do we work with at Bell, or at Beck?
Jessica Rizzio and Matthew Beck.
Is there some way to get in touch with them to see if they can
I've talked
review
to,
these
we've talked,
documents?
I know Kurt has, but I've also talked to Jessica, and she's willing to look through the bid packages at some point. I mean, would be happy to come down or take these up, or however you wanna do it.
Well, we could certainly scan them and send them up.
You know, take them up there, it's just Jamaica.
Or is it? Okay. Well, like I said, I don't want to
Yeah,
attempt
it's
to
not-
understand the difference between
I don't feel confident
These-
making a decision.
these different options that are being presented and the different prices, and yours is so easy to understand. Thank you. That I understand. So when would you like to basically set a time for awarding this? I didn't look at your package. What were you saying time-wise, Archie, on
The
that?
timeline,
Yeah,
probably 2 to 3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks, okay. So if we took a week to get a hold of the engineering company.
Oh, I thought you meant time on the road closure.
Oh, okay, the road closure, okay. No, the timeline as far as, how soon are you gonna have, what kind of a window?
Is it potential, can you do it this fall? If you were awarded the contract, by October 1st, do you think you can get it
Yeah,
in full weather?
I was thinking that, yeah.
Because paving after November 15th is pretty questionable, I mean, just as a matter of
Right.
obvious. But it would depend on your being able
I
to
mean, obviously,
get something ordered and all that.
it'd be easier to wait till spring, but I understand the,
Okay, so you made a motion to.
Yeah, let's
From Beck.
get consultation from Dept.
Table bid awards until.
Okay, was there a second for that?
Second.
Was there any further discussion on it? All right, all those in favor of seeking consultation from Beck on these bridge bids, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. So we will let you know as soon as they make some sense out of some of this for us. And we'll need to say, let you know one way or another what's going on as soon as we can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for taking the time, because I know it was confusing, and I was passing papers to Lynn, and it was kind of confusing. All right, so this, can I have the envelope? So put them together so they stay in one piece.
I have Daniels.
Daniel's is,
Here.
you have Daniel's? Okay, those are just the, where's the rest of the Daniel's packet?
I have one of them.
Who you have?
There were three of them, I think.
Yeah, I have one.
You have Daniel's? Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Okay, uh-oh, I got somebody something. This goes with Clark's.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll see what we can do. We might have to have a special get-together to be able to talk about what, on their timeline, so to speak, but I'll let you know as soon as we can make contact.
Getting to the time of year when time is essence.
Absolutely. Okay, so we'll be in touch as soon as we can. Then moving on to the highway. Okay, let's start with the update on the roadside mowing, since we already had that discussion before.
I'm waiting to hear from the contractor, which is Bruce Orchid up in Chester. He had some issues with a new piece of equipment, transmission problems that have caused a delay. I understood 10 days ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, that it was obviously not going to be October or August, but that it would be hopefully sometime in September, and I don't have a confirmation on the date. So I do have a couple calls out, I'm waiting to hear, trying to get it nailed down.
Any questions?
Better be in September. In November,
Well,
late
October, it's-
October or November.
as soon as you get a, as soon as you get a frost, it gets.
Too late.
Yeah.
All right, then moving on to Bazin and the paving, did you, that's been completed, I
That's
think, we
been
haven't
completed,
received the
yes.
bill. Okay, was it satisfactory?
Yes. Yeah.
You still got some dips in it by not shimming it. You go along, you can feel them. You got some joints that show up too.
Some joints that showed up.
When you ride over it, you can feel them. You take that 1-ton truck, you go up there and you ride over it, and you feel every one of them. I won't say every one of them, probably half a dozen of them.
You like a cold joint?
Wherever they, I don't know, either that or they truck with the oil in between trucks or something.
The pavement was cold, you want me to call them on it? I did
I
not.
don't know, they're not real bad, but they're like,
Well, I knew not shimming, but we wanted most of our money to cover that road, I knew that.
without the shim, you can see, get them, whether there was a low spot, it shows it. But that, because we didn't have the shim done, so we can't complain about that.
Do we have any idea how close it came in to the bid amount, the bid award?
The tonnage, I didn't get the slips, no.
You didn't get the slip?
No, I told him to drop them off and he never did.
Okay.
Cause I only stopped up there a couple times, to see if everything was all right. I didn't hang around, I told Denny to drop them off, and he never dropped them off. He said, well, probably, didn't they mail them in with the bill?
They could come in with the bill.
They could-
Usually it's a pretty good stock.
Yeah, should be a good stack of trucks.
The bill's not in, that's,
Oh.
I wondered last time you had the loads.
I did, yeah,
Okay,
but not this time.
so we don't know, all right?
But they knew the amount. It was right where we were thinking it was gonna end. I wanted to get up Acton Hill, approach, but we couldn't quite make it.
All right, then the next one, the infrastructure inventory, is there any word whatsoever?
I
on
talked
that?
to Jeff Nugent, this week, as a matter of fact. Huh?
Sorry, did I say that out loud?
Moved in,
And,
so we're all thinking.
we're in line, but right, not the next one.
Are we gonna do it before the snow flies? Are we?
Says we will, not up to me.
Okay. Then moving on to the Plumb Road Bank stabilization, has anything been done on that?
You would've got a bill for riprap by now, if I hadn't done, I have not done it.
Have we gotten, the pole's been moved, I understand the pole actually
The
got
pole
moved?
has been moved, yes, it has.
Have the wires been transferred?
Yes, it has.
Okay, so that part of it's done. So what kind of completion date, because I believe we're going to have to play games with state this year, talking about that grant, where we are with that grant, and what's going on with
Well,
that
at the bank,
grant.
the bank stabilization grant and the infrastructure inventory were at the same time. You sure it's up this year?
No, I'm not saying it's up, but every year we have to account for what we have and have not done with these,
Right, right.
these accident grants.
We haven't done either one of them.
Okay, so I believe next year's the final year for both. Okay. Next year's the deadline for them to be complete.
Yep.
Okay. And in the packet of bills,
Yes.
there's a warrant for D&E tree, and there was a question, since you weren't at our last meeting, about whether or not, that work was done to your satisfaction, that you feel
Yes.
we got our money's worth out of that
I
separated.
did. We did the flagging and they were, yes, they did a great job.
So there was another issue with D&E,
What was that?
and that's the amount of time that they're working. Because you guys start at 6, they don't show up until 8:30. You guys knock off at 2:30, and they follow your tracks out.
Actually, it was later than 2:30 that we knocked off.
They do not work 8 hours when they're here.
How many hours did they work?
5.5 or 6. So the question is, how can we get to 8 hours? If D&E can't start at 6, can one of your guys stay with them, come in at 8 and start with them and stay so they can put in 8 hours? Is that possible?
That is possible.
I think we would like
Oh,
to
but
do
we
it.
did work later that day with them and they stayed after us, probably only a half hour cutting the tree down in front of Larry Gould's banner. They did stay later than us.
So that was the second issue that we had with D&E. We're just not getting 8 hours worth of work done.
Do we get charged for travel time?
Shouldn't, I don't think.
I don't believe that was in
No, I
that,
don't
in the
believe
bill.
I'll have to ask, no, it's not on the bill.
Does that answer your question, Steve?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Then the 100 North invoice, again, this is another one that we held up at the last meeting, because there was a question about the same type of thing, when the flaggers come in and when the employees, the highway crew was
They
available
come in
to
at
work.
6 o'clock.
They do come in at 6 o'clock.
Yes, they do.
And that one involved one employee leaving early that day,
Mhm.
and there was.
Is there a day off?
No.
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 Yeah, one employee left early that day, and since I had flaggers and I need flaggers, I don't have an opportunity to get them. I went up by Acton Hill, and there was, the ditch was full from the runoff from the hill. And I ditched along from Acton Hill down at Grafton Road, and they did the flagging for us there.
So they did put in
Yes,
the same number of hours as the road crew did that day.
I have calls pending to 4 flagging companies, probably 2 I won't need because they're so far away. But I need flaggers for the shoulder work on the Grafton Road and stuff.
Did you have them on Acton Hill when you, at the same time you were on Acton Hill?
It wasn't on Acton Hill, it was on Grafton Road,
Okay, well,
from Acton Hill down.
okay.
Any other
If I was
questions?
on Acton Hill, I wouldn't have flaggers.
Well, you had done some work right there in that time,
No.
so.
Any other questions on that 100 North bill?
Nope.
Okay. Crane Mountain Road sign?
Marge Holt stopped in, this is on me, I just put that on there. She stopped in the other day. Crane Mountain Road, off the Holt property is a class 4 road, and there was a big impassable section. Well, because it's a class 4 road, it still shows up on GPS now,
Wait a
stars.
minute, that ain't all class 4.
No, there's an impassable section in the middle of it, there's a swamp.
Yeah,
It's right in the middle,
that,
right. But it still shows up on your Navstar GPS, and at 4:30 in the morning, some girl from Wisconsin ended up taking a turn up there and getting stuck in the swamp, and then come down crying that, and woke up Marge and the family, and they had to kinda give her some ride, get it towed out of there. Anyway, she requested if possible that we put up something like a no through traffic sign.
Well, put up no outlet.
No outlet, no, whatever,
Well,
yeah,
it-
something, because people are GPSing their way to Wyndham.
If you get no
off
outlet,
Acton
then
Hill.
there's no way of getting out of that, so they shouldn't be going in.
Well, not at 4:30 in the morning, but anyway, they're following the map on their Navstar.
I can get a sign to put that up.
Unauthorized motor vehicles prohibited.
There you go.
But, yeah,
All right, so we can get a
if you
sign
would
up there.
appreciate that.
No more swamp.
Because we ended up putting a dead end sign up by the hippie house up there because GPS shows that.
Same thing, on Jordan Lane.
All right, and then the Ross Evans letter, we basically had to
Yeah,
postpone
up
the
there on
special.
the set corner, just below Schoolma'am Lane. There used to be a ditch there with a grader, but they've gone in there with a backhoe and dug a goddamn thing like that, so you can't get across there.
We dug out, because all of us have been pushing on the grader for years.
The town isn't, that's on with a backhoe, 'cause I went with a.
No, you're missing my point. We've all been pushing in there with a grader for years. We've been operating grader, I'm sure Roger did it and us. And you can only push in someplace so much. The grader doesn't take out, it only pushes in. So there was a big hump of material there, so we took it out and put a ditch in there. And if they ever want to get an access in there, like a driveway, they would have to put a culvert in there like anybody else.
Oh,
Yeah, but the
I
thing
did.
about it
He
is
used to
that
be able to get in there with his tractor, and he can't now.
you
I
take,
talked to Ross about the situation.
you take these areas and you turn them into, it has to be a culvert. Well, you shouldn't have to have an excavator to get onto your property. It doesn't matter
If
if
they
it
get a
is.
driveway permit to upgrade the driveway. Do you
Yeah,
want
but
to
if
smooth
you
it out?
just
Make
wanna
it-
go in there and get a couple trees out. I mean, I could bring you to a lot of different places. You ruin the access to the land by taking and putting your water runoff right into the easiest spot on the road, and that's right where the entrance into the forest land is. Well, it's not gonna be a driveway. It might possibly be, they wanna log it, or maybe they would like
That's an
to.
access, that's a curb cut. If it's a logging place, it's still a curb cut for access to the property.
Bottom line is they don't need a 2-foot ditch dug across the land to get the water to
Like
turn
I
it off
said,
there.
you keep pushing material in there with the grader to get a runoff, and you keep pushing material in there, you make a big mound of material.
So you keep pushing it until it's off and the water keeps diverted. You don't need the 2-foot ditch is what the point is.
Correct. Probably if the big pile of dirt wasn't next to the 2-foot ditch, it would be a smaller ditch. But there's a big pile of dirt there from the grader pushing the material up there. All it does is push, it doesn't take away.
You can backtrack with a grader, you know you can.
It's
The,
been done for years up there, push up on that wall, that runoff.
I
the,
could bring you to places that hasn't been done for years, but the point is that it doesn't need to be dug like that.
did you come to some kind of agreement with Ross, or does Ross understand, or?
Ross understood, he was fine with it.
So he, whatever the issue was, the
Mhm.
issue was,
Yes.
it's been dealt with,
Mhm.
is what you're telling me. Okay. Then let's move on to the other one that we had on the agenda last time, that, again, we weren't able to find out about, and that was the Skip Woodruff letter.
Yes,
Has that been addressed as well?
everything but his, edge of his driveway, we gotta look at the material on the edge of his driveway.
Okay, so now as soon as that material is in, then he's satisfied with
Yes.
the
He
mitigation?
was very happy with the mitigation of the ditch and the cleaning out of it and stuff.
Okay.
And we're no longer gonna push trees over his bank.
No.
And then the Kenneth Baumann letter, which we just received, that's down in correspondence, but since you're here, I'm going to go ahead and deal with that one. It says, "Dear Selectman, I'm writing to you about dirt that was put on my property. For 25 years, I've been taking care of the property. There was never any dirt that was dumped in this area. I would like the dirt taken away. The area now looks like a parking lot," and then there's a diagram, and then it says, "Also writing about a pine tree that was cut down. I called Green Mountain Power, they sent a man over to look at the tree. He called me and said they did not cut the tree down. I called Velco, they sent a man over to look at the tree, he called me and said they did not cut the tree down, I would like this tree taken away. Sincerely, Kenneth Baumann, please get back to me, thank you. So has someone been up to see Mr. Baumann?
Yes, I have.
And where do we stand on both the tree and the dirt?
I talked to him twice. First time I took dirt away. I did pile dirt there along that culvert, because we have a culvert that goes across there, and the beaver that plugged it up. Couldn't get the backhoe out in there, so I just pushed dirt out there with ditching material to make a little road out there to the end of the culvert. And so we could get out to the backhoe ramrod out there before we put the beaver deceiver in. And so it's been quite a while. So anyways, I took material away, and he wants me to take more material away, make it flat, and the edge of, and make it to the edge of the road. I kind of made a slope down to it. So I have to clean that up a little bit, probably
And
2 loads.
what happened to the tree? Who did?
Oh, the tree? I have no idea.
So this tree magically fell down and no.
No, somebody cut it down. I have no idea.
Sir,
Phantom chainsaw guy.
is it? Is that how we broke the tree? Has
The
it?
tree's down and the log is gone.
The tree's down and the log's gone.
It's only the top and the wood.
Dan Buster has a good bottom.
The log?
Yeah.
I would just dump under the project.
Well, that's interesting. But,
It's way out of what we would cut. It's way out of the.
So is Mr. Baumann then satisfied at this point in time with
As
what's?
soon as I clean the rest of the stuff up, yes, I'm gonna throw some grass seed on it that I left over.
Okay.
Yep, he's all taken care
Okay. And then, moving on to, the front end loader specs. And that's something that we need to discuss as well, is whether or not we're going to finance, and if so, how much of this purchase. But before we can fill out any of the bank paperwork, we need to have the specs for the machine and to find out exactly what the cost is going to be. So I know Kurt has provided us with a leaflet for a John Deere. And I don't know what your pleasure is, whether you wanna work from that, whether you wanna put it out to bid for other dealers, what your plan is for speccing out this loader, but we are going to need specs and prices to do the paperwork.
Can I say something? I think we should get 2 more prices from guys, local dealers that are closer to it. And Irvin and I could go over the specs to see if you like the specs on the loader, just a simple 3-yard machine like we got now, nothing special. Because what we have now fits us perfect, it's right up and good up.
It's got good glass.
It does have good glass in it, yes.
So is that,
I would like to see additional quotes.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say,
I
you
agree.
willing to go over it with him?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you could go ahead and get a couple more quotes, and you might as well refresh that John Deere quote as well.
Sure.
Because it is old at this point in time.
I'll get a hold of you this time.
And then we'll.
Sometimes you might not catch me this week, or by the first part of next week.
The,
I'm trucking into Wyndham.
The deadline for the Vermont Equipment Revolving Loan Fund is applications going by the 15th of October. So you're down to kind of 2 meetings to
Yeah.
figure that. I mean, if we're going to apply, and I think there's been discussion that we may have the cash this year, we may not need to borrow very much or whatever, but if we're gonna get that into the fall queue, as opposed to wait till next
Are you
spring.
bringing your rubbish up to the town garage Saturday morning?
Wyndham?
What's that?
You bringing your rubbish up to the town garage Saturday morning? We could take 15, 20
No.
minutes. No?
I don't work with me. Cook. No, I mean, it could go up and meet with you.
Sure. That's it.
What time?
I have a soccer game Saturday, let me call you, it might have to be early in the morning.
Okay.
so if you will go ahead and get those quotes.
Sure.
You
and
can
go
leave
with their-
a message on the machine anyway.
7, yep.
Okay. So is there any other information for, or questions for the highway foreman?
I do have a question. I noticed in the warrants, there's new chainsaw in there.
Yes.
We had talked about, a little bit about reinstating the, getting bids for purchases over a certain amount. I don't know what was the old policy? Is it $5,000?
Well, I called Mr. Hunt before I purchased chainsaw. The end of the crank broke off the chainsaw. It's probably 11 years old now. And I did bounce it off of him. Ryan's our local guy. We get a huge municipal discount. Our service is right there. We're not, instead of running.
Yeah, I have no way
If you
casting
save-
aspersion on
If you
that.
save $50 somewhere, you can eat that up in a guy's time, just doing something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I would like to just make sure that we are doing due diligence and
And
trying to save the money where we can.
And I got the saw, the best saw that fits us, the cheapest one. You know? Could've got a bigger one, but I got a nice little one for a truck.
Any other questions?
So are we gonna go to the PO system? Because was there a PO used for W&W when you purchased the items for the gate, at the gravel pit?
No, it was not used for that.
So are we gonna do that?
That was on, you told me anything over $100, and I do try to use it all the time, but that morning I went and talked to Bob, because I know we had a nice day off, and he ran right down to WW and took care of the gate. So there was no feeding. I did not get it.
I mean, again, if we either have to decide that that's what we're going to do, and then every bill in here should have one attached.
Mostly all those bills do have POs, especially with equipment stuff, but that's how we keep track of the bills and stuff. I do, and by putting the number, the 300 number down, so.
Right, it's not a PO from the standpoint that there's not a number on the invoice that we can refer back to, meaning it's gone through the system. I know you put down.
He puts it on a purchase order book pad
Right.
cover, so that there's something to go with it, so that it shows that he made a phone call to get that part, and that what comes in matches what supposedly you ordered. At least he can check against that, or
And I do compare prices a lot through the 3 local dealers we use for parts for equipment.
So again, if you wanna go that way, now's the time to say it, or
Yes, I'm a yes on that.
anybody else?
I would agree with that.
So what are your parameters? You wanna follow the policy as it is, which is over $100, or what's the policy?
I think we should amend the current policy for any purchase until we have a comfort level of where our dollars are going and how they're being spent.
Copy of policy in front of you. In the meantime, while we're waiting for Craig to find that, the board did go through and come up with a new evaluation sheet for employees
Okay.
that we're going to use on everybody, so it's now standard. I've got 2 copies here for you to go back and do your 2 employees. And then please get them in as soon as possible, because we will be discussing raises and/or evaluations together when we decide on the new budget numbers, which will begin in October.
Sure.
So as soon as you can,
we can have him do one for Arnold too, or just Bob and Bud.
I don't know what to do about Arnold from the evaluation standpoint.
Every employee is entitled to know how they are doing.
Yes, but
So-
is that Kurt's job to evaluate him, or is that ours?
Are you a salaried individual? You cannot do it. So that, we have to do it.
Okay, so that answers that question.
Okay.
So anyway, I've got 2 copies here, one for Bob and Ed, if you would
Sure.
take a look at those.
So do
and
we do
fill them out.
one for the listers and for the clerk?
They're not employees.
They're elected.
No,
They're
they're elected.
Or we can still give them a job review.
Well, best of luck doing that, like it mean
Elected,
anything.
we can't.
We can do it, but it's not gonna mean anything.
Don't mean, mean.
Okay, so right now, the major purchases, which is described as $5,000 or more, at least 3 contractors to supply vendors with bids. Regular purchases, soliciting bids or quotations from at least 2 vendors unless the sole source vendor has been approved. And it actually doesn't state a dollar amount on that one.
Oh, I thought you guys told me all that.
We're doing regular purchases 1,000 to 5,000. And then incidental purchases are less than 1,000. And it says incidental purchases may be made without a formal bid or competitive solicitation by the select board, highway foreman, clerk or treasurer. So they're, right now, it's not, that's not fall under the purchase order piece. So if you'd like to amend that, we're gonna have to actually go through the steps
Okay.
of doing that,
All right.
okay?
So it's coming. You should start it now just to get used to it.
Just so we're all on the same page, are the pieces of that in place to be able to do a formal?
To reboot it, yes, there are.
Okay, so all the pieces are?
We'll just, I need to go through, everybody needs to go, we need to go through that, make sure we're all on the same page.
Right.
I gotta review it again, but yeah, it can be brought up pretty quick.
Okay, so that's gonna be in the works then.
Good.
All right, anything else for Mr. Boston? Hearing none? Okay, I guess that's all, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kurt. I'll call you early.
All right, you all should have gotten the
Craig, you need that,
town clerk's over-the-counter money.
First thing in the morning, I've got it right back here, pretty close. Yep.
And goes back in the office, because that's important, and the treasurer. Joe, did you have a report?
We have 1,625,145.23.
Not for long. Not for long. Okay, I also have here a transfer sheet that says, we the select board understand that we owe the cemetery commission from the general fund $4,821.82. That is transferring funds from the general fund to the cemetery. That was money that was collected over the year, deposited in one fund, now needs to be transferred to the cemetery. We all need to take a look at, we all need to sign that so that there's a paper trail of where that money moved and why.
And that has been done, is that correct? Okay, she's just waiting on the deposit slip. So that has already been done, the check has already been cut, Joe's already rolled the CD over,
No.
or Charlie has.
Charlie did.
Okay, all right,
But
okay.
I called him today and told him she had to have
Yeah, she just has to book it, but
Yeah.
this is just a paper trail, that
All right, then let's move on to.
certifies that the board is watching the money, basically, keeping track of it.
Members of the public, Kristina?
I am here because the ball field was torn up again Saturday night. And it's kind of getting old. It's taking up a lot of time of a lot of people. There is no money to be fixing it. There was a crew of, I think, 5 gentlemen this spring who spent about 5 or 6 hours there filling in all the ruts. Soccer's starting this week. Our field's torn up. I was down there trying to resod it. People who, I've had to ask many people from the community to help out. There is a gate that goes on the posts there that is off in the woods. Is there any way we can put the gate back so that people can't drive through?
Out in the woods.
There is a gate, there's 2 posts when you come up. There was a gate on them. And Dale Davis, and when Rob mowed, he found the gate too. Pointed it out to me that there is a gate like what you just bought down
Off
there.
of a stone wall or something.
They didn't
That's-
put that down
What?
there. They didn't put a gate down there.
Oh, they didn't put it there, okay. But there is a gate that fits on the post that is off, kind of chopped off.
Was the tear up of the field by vehicles?
It was by
Okay,
vehicles.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I know last year the bed pipes were hit and torn out that go to the hospital. I mean, it is a town septic. The elementary school uses it, the church uses it, the hospital uses it. I mean, having ruts throughout it is probably not the best for a septic.
I don't know who did take that off, but I know there used to be a gate there.
And I was told it's right off in the woods. Rob knows where it is. I was wondering, can we just put it up? I mean,
I don't see why, I would move that we direct Kurt to go get the gate and put it back. And hanging unauthorized motor vehicles prohibited
We
sign
still
on
have a
it.
few, we still have a few of those signs.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor,
Are you gonna have, excuse me,
yep,
are you gonna lock it or?
I think if it's shut, right
Yeah,
for
no,
now, I think it's a deterrent, because I'm thinking that the people who are doing it aren't the most ambitious
no.
for,
Right, yeah.
for
Are they
getting
really
on.
gonna get out of the car and open it?
Yeah, I think that if it's shut, I think it's a deterrent enough that to get out and walk around, to get it onto the field, would take time. So I,
Yeah, no problem, I just wondered what,
yeah. I mean, I obviously have people that need to get on, because I have a porta potty and everything out there, so
Right.
I need, the guy comes once a week to pump it, and so,
And we can start with just the gate.
yeah, and see how
If
it
it
goes.
remains a problem, then we can look at further steps.
So we have to reinstall the gate without a lock, basically.
Yes.
Just some sort of latching arrangement.
Yep.
okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of reinstalling the gate at the ball field, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Okay, Rob abstains, motion passes. Okay, was that it? Kristina,
That was all I had,
Alright.
thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
then let's move back to the warrants.
Make a motion to pay check warrant number 1 on the payroll in the amount of $10,117.85.
Second.
What?
Payroll number 1.
What was the number again?
10,217.85.
Okay, I just didn't hear that right, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. Is there a second to that?
Second.
yeah,
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying warrant number 1 in the amount of $10,217.85, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a warrant, a check warrant number 2 in the amount of $3,925.79.
second,
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying payroll tax warrant number 2 in the amount of $3,925.79, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Alright,
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to pay check warrant number 3 out of general fund in the amount of $16,664.43.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying general fund warrant number 3 in the amount of $16,664.43, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
alright,
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to pay check warrant number 4 out of the general fund in the amount of $5,587.21.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying general fund warrant number 4 in the amount of $5,587.21, signify by saying aye.
aye,
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to pay check warrant number 5 out of the general fund in the amount of $50.60.
Is there a second?
second,
Is there any discussion?
Mm-hmm.
Hearing none, all those in favor of paying general fund warrant number 5 in the amount of $50.60, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
alright.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a
We
motion-
noticed the date on that one, right? The date's on that? Yeah, okay. Thank you.
It just makes no sense
Goes
whatsoever.
back a little ways, yeah, okay.
Make a motion to pay check warrant number 6 out of the highway in the amount of $4,725.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
We seem to be spending quite a bit on magnesium chloride. I wrote this down, I completely forgot to ask her about it while I was here. I just want to go on the record as saying that.
Well, I have,
I don't understand what it's for when we put it down.
That would be in the amount of $3,461.92.
Yes.
now, I have the same question because I sat there and watched them put it down in the rain.
Well, I think this is one of the things that will be solved with the PO system because Kurt's gonna have to call you for a PO for magnesium chloride, and you're gonna say, well, I just sat in this select board meeting 2 weeks ago, we had a conversation about this. No, we're gonna hold off, bring it up at the meeting next time, and then we can all hash it out.
One of the issues that we have with the last, not to get into that, and we'll discuss that at some other point in time, the last purchase orders, well, the number of blanket purchase orders.
Right,
where-
that was one of them.
Where Franklin Auto was on a blanket purchase order, magnesium chloride, so it would just continue along in that sense, because it was a common, we weren't gonna bid it out, it was just gonna be this rolling thing. When the board establishes, for example, sand from whoever we buy the sand from, and you set a tonnage amount, I keep track for the board as to how many tons we order. I don't write a purchase order for each load that comes in, so to speak.
Right.
But as we approach, December, something like that, I'll let you know where we are. But those are the kinds of blankets that can get us into trouble. And magnesium chloride was one of those.
Right.
Just ended up on our
Or
reorder
it's like
basis anytime.
the approved vendor, so, yeah.
But you know the amount of it that they use, that part of the time they use water to do the same goddamn thing because the stuff is in the ground.
3-4 years ago, we didn't have a sprayer. We weren't using it. I mean, that's the bottom line. And since then, we've spent, $70,000 on the stuff over the last 4 years. It
Plus
just,
we had to buy a spray.
Maybe we could break the sprayer.
it's getting.
Swallow up.
But again, why, if it's for dust control, why the devil do you put it down in the rain?
Right.
I
Because it
don't-
works twice as good with the rain.
Okay,
Are you having any dust issues in your kitchen?
no, I'm not.
Okay, well, then there's.
The house is
all right.
smoking though, so
Don't
what
be
can I
complaining.
say?
Well, Rick cleaned it up ahead of time.
Gotcha. Is there any further discussion on warrant number 6?
It also treats the dirt. I mean, there are, for water repellency and whatever. But anyway,
Yeah, but if you're putting it down in the rain, you're diluting it.
Yeah, I'm sure there are very logical and well thought out reasons to do it.
to maintain the ditch.
I'm just curious as to why we're doing so much of it and if that's really necessary.
Yeah, there's no point, no reason we can't.
That's a
ask
road
questions.
phone.
Anyway, we'll definitely have that discussion again. Is there any further questions or discussion on that warrant, Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of paying highway warrant number 6 in the amount of $4,725 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Rob?
I don't know, I'm still up in the air. I'm gonna go with no.
Okay. I get to break that tie, don't I? What else is on that warrant?
Well, 75% of it is innovative system solutions, but I
Is
know
it-
you
I
know
know we
first.
could,
You're first, okay.
Highway insurance.
We bought the product, we have the
BMW.
product in the tank. And if you don't wanna buy any more, that's one thing, but you're not gonna not pay them.
right, that's true.
We have to fix the system, is what the
Right,
problem is.
exactly.
Right, so I'll
It's not
vote
their
with,
fault.
I'll vote in the affirmative, the motion passes. The one thing I do want to make sure happens is,
No more.
well, no, not so much no more, as the fact that it's pre-vetted. From now on, if it comes through as it is right now, I would suggest that we just hold these bills until such time as we have the purchase order in place,
Yes.
so that there's another thing, and not pay the bills until such time as there is a system.
Right. I mean, that might be another thing, just as an aside to look at, is start fresh with vendors when we do it through our system.
Make a motion to pay check warrant number 7 out of the equipment fund in the amount of $3,890.60.
Is there a second? Is there a discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying equipment warrant number 7 in the amount of $3,890.60, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? I only have two ayes.
I'm a little curious about 70 different York rake teeth at $1,015.
That's what they cost, and when they get wore down, you've gotta replace them.
Yeah. All right.
Either that or quit using it.
It's a full set of teeth, I believe,
Right.
ordered for that.
So I still only have 2 yes votes.
I was.
What was the price per
Oh,
tooth?
You were
did
not, I
it
didn't
say?
hear your aye.
Oh, yeah,
You
I
said
said
aye.
$11 a piece, something like that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
like
I
what-
gotta say way back when I was in it, was $7 a piece.
Oh, I'm not, the metal pile is,
And I know
the metal
that-
pile is full of them, I know they're
Yeah.
about that much too short now, it's too bad you can't lower the axle a little bit and keep grinding away, but.
Is that actually even number?
$14.50 a tooth.
$14.50 a tooth, okay.
Can't see that. This doesn't have enough signatures anyway.
Oh, because I had question on the chainsaw, so,
Yeah, I signed it after the fact because
yeah.
I just wanted to bring it up.
Okay. So, any further discussion? Okay, so we're gonna revote it just so it's clear. All those in favor of paying equipment warrant number 7 in the amount of $3,890.60 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to pay check warrant number 8 out of the highway fund, the amount of $1,000.
Oh,
The D&E.
that's the D&E, yeah. Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
What do we think? Did we get 8 hours? Did we get our money's worth?
Well, according to the
From that?
foreman, we did. That's all I've got on that.
We paid for travel, as well as.
We did pay for travel.
So we pay somebody $200 to drive to work? That sounds like the biggest crock of BS I've heard.
You look at the invoices, that sort of amounts to, they got a full day's pay for the first day they were here, and everybody kind of agreed they didn't do a full day's work, which is why I got held back.
Right.
But then you guys passed it at the last one, we paid them that full day on the promise that they would work a full day this time around and
At a
only bill for
discounted rate.
half. That's what Kurt said, bill for half, but instead they bill for 5 hours, only work for 6 or 6.5, something like that. Although, you know, Kurt and Bob were out helping, and then Kurt the next day, because Bob took off, and Ed took off, was out picking up all the branches and the brumbles and whatever else, because they were cutting, not picking stuff up. So anyway, you know, our crew did pretty much the cleanup work on it, and did the flagging for them, I guess. Don't know, I didn't see where they cut. I mean, that's,
I didn't know.
I just haven't seen. I know they cut the one in front of Larry Gould's, because I went by and saw them parked there. But anyway,
Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor of paying highway warrant number 8 in the amount of $1,000 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No,
Okay. I want this to gone. Let's get it off the table. I'll vote aye. The motion passes.
make a motion to pay check warrant number 9 in the amount of $760.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Which one is that?
The flaggers.
For the 5.
Hunter Larry.
Okay, and we talked to him about that. Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying highway warrant number 9 in the amount of $760 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Alright.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to pay check warrant number 10 in the amount of $578,523.
Is there a second?
Second.
How come we didn't make it on our sheet?
I'm sorry about that. That came in actually after noon today, after Elaine left, so I typed up the warrant. That's your education fund, which is due.
We couldn't wait till next.
It can't.
Can't wait till the next meeting.
It
It's-
has to be out.
It could have waited, but
Your
it
wife
would have
be not
been,
happy with you.
it would have been in the form of a
Oh,
check you're approving after the fact, because the check would have gone out at that point. But those numbers just came in today, and Kathy had a little look at them when they arrived.
How they look?
We're up a bit over last year.
Could've been worse, but,
By how much a quarter?
$5 grand, $6 grand, something like that. A quarter, it's not that bad between the two schools. But, I mean, it does add up, it's gonna be another 25,000 or something like that.
How does the price go up and the tuition goes down?
Huh?
How does the price go up and the tuition goes down?
Because salaries go up.
Well,
The price goes up because the tuition goes down.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying general fund warrant number 10 in the amount of $578,523, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? The motion passes. See, I told you that money wasn't gonna be there long,
I
John.
don't know what I'm voting for, I haven't seen it.
That too.
I can't vote for
You
it.
don't see anything.
I'll never vote for it.
Okay,
Until I see it.
what are you gonna see?
It's a school business.
It's just a number. The state gives us a number. That's all they give us. You're happy to, you can have it.
Accreditation
And the
certification.
thing is, we can't,
Can't
you
not
can't
pay
say
it.
you're not gonna pay it.
Nope.
It's a big problem.
No, don't, it's only.
Let him figure that.
We
Yeah.
got so many days to
Here
pay
you go,
it.
here you go.
You
Thank you, I feel better now.
Okay. You figure that one out. All right,
Down
then,
at the bottom, Steve. And then, I'm sorry, but there are 2 pages, one for each school after that, sorry, okay.
moving down to old business, the town report committee volunteers. Did you hear something on that?
I did, we got a really nice email from Joanna Snelling, who offered to do 2 things, but one of the things that she offered to do was help out on the town report committee.
I also have an email address to give to you.
Okay, you indicated that you may
Yeah.
know somebody, and we didn't have
Yeah.
confirmation, so
Right.
we don't wanna say any names, but
Right. Yeah.
Joanna Snelling has offered to help out with
Yeah.
whatever she can do, hasn't done it before, but she's, and,
It's Brendan Canavari.
well, you can give me
Oh,
that.
send me this email.
Okay, so that would give us 3, because Cynthia Davis has already told us, previously that she was in, so that would give us 3 people that we could put in touch with one another so they can begin to figure out what it is they're going to do with the town report this year.
In the timeline.
And, yeah, right, the timeline that they'll be working within. All right, then, the town common use policy is something we talked about. The fact that, we needed to have some control over what was going on in the common and the use and the amount of time that it was not available to the general public. I don't think that anything's been written up at this point in time for us to actually look at and approve. So if you do have any ideas about what you want this policy to say,
Talking points.
we need to get a list to Craig so we can kind of make
Start building
progress into something that is reasonable.
something along the same lines, are we gonna put something out for the school, for the one-way? Or is
That's
that just-
that's what I was
coming?
added with the common road piece. So if you have any ideas about the actual use of the, be it fees, be it restrictions, be it whatever,
Nothing's too silly to put on the table, we can always take it off.
then we'll just try to put something together that makes sense for everybody. Then moving on to what Rob was talking about, and that's the common road. We needed to have a discussion about whether or not we want to make that one way coming in off of Route 35 towards Route 30. Right now, they seem to be fairly efficient at following that, just as a dictate.
Yeah, I've been noticing that.
Although we do have.
One car.
Couple boneheads.
Yes, that insist on coming in the wrong way.
Very visibly. We
No.
can take care of that.
I think if we actually put something up, I've spoken to the road foreman, he doesn't have any objections to that piece. I
Yeah,
think-
I'm sorry to interrupt you. When we talked about it, we were talking about just during the beginning, ending of school, not all the time, correct?
And we could certainly do it that way, yes.
It complicates it more to say, only during certain
Sometimes.
hours. It's like no through traffic on that road, I believe, is specified during
It
certain
is.
hours.
No,
8
it's
to
just
6.
no, it's just.
Oh, it's just no through
It
traffic?
says no through traffic.
Well, people use it as through traffic all the time.
I
I do,
understand.
you do, everybody does, because it's a nice, easy way to not have to make a U-turn in the middle of a road. That, and when it's quiet, there's nothing wrong with it. That being
So you're one
said,
of those guys.
Yep.
I know. But a one-way sign is a one-way sign that everybody recognizes, and it doesn't mean that emergency vehicles or maintenance crews plowing or whatever can't go the other way if they choose. But it would mean that the majority of people would be,
I don't know about that.
Well, emergency vehicles can do what they
Well,
want.
emergency vehicle,
They can
yeah,
drive across the common if they want to.
but if everybody else has gotta do it, then the rest of them should.
Well, yeah, they're doing pretty good right now, because I think the word is out. Now, we had that conversation, but I think Craig has approached most of the teachers and the parents and whatnot.
Yeah, they had talked about doing a robocall to
Yeah.
just let
Which
everybody
they
know.
did do, because it
Yeah.
irritated quite a few people. Just for FYI. So yes, again, that's the same way. I would also like for us to consider in whatever we do with Common Road, if we decide to make it one way, part-time, full-time, put signs up, whatever we do, that we also consider having that as a designated salt reduction area.
Yes.
So that we can hopefully quit plowing so much salt under the common, under the trees there.
We do salt area.
Did the church ever get the notice about the ability to put their 2 parking spots?
They've got the signs, I
They
found
did
that,
get the
finally
signs.
that.
I've been looking and I haven't seen them out there, so I'm wondering if they.
I saw one of them out there briefly.
They were delivered, and Kurt pounded one into the ground on a post, and I had him pull that one out, and he left the sign there. I haven't seen them put them out though, because I don't know that they have a stanchion or a stand that they can actually stand it up in. But they will know. I mean, Kathy and I have written a letter to go with it. Just found out today.
We
he
had to find
actually
the
left them.
signs.
Well, I told him to bring them home, and he left them there on the porch, and apparently they're now inside. That being said, they do have the sign, or the signs, so, we'll attend to that, but they already know, to a degree that the town isn't standing behind any kind of place. I mean, we're not designating an area. That it's temporary use and it's on occasion when it, and, as needed. Roll sign out, roll sign back in when you're done, kind of thing.
So is there anything else on Common Road? The question, or the discussion came up today when Kurt stopped by about the need to put, or to do the road marking. That wasn't on Common Road, but,
And it's not on Common Road, but I will mention again, those curbstones, those concrete curbstones with the re-rods sticking up have been there for years and years and years. We had an issue last year, we had an issue the year before, somebody punctured a tire. Last year, somebody pulled the bumper off on them. There still are re-rod and old concrete curbstones out there. Rubber ones are available, made out of old tires reprocessed. Stand a little taller so you don't drive over them and pull the air dam out from under your rental vehicle.
but that's not Common Road.
That's not Common Road, that is 35, but it is the town common.
Right. Do you know what the cost of that anymore?
I
I know.
don't, the delivery costs more than the actual product on this, because they weigh many hundreds of pounds, each from 8 foot.
That concrete's been there quite a long time.
You think?
I know.
Salt's eating it away pretty
So
much.
much it's gone.
So do you have any idea what, if there's any state regulations involved with changing the direction on that road? No, we need to check into that just to see if there is any, since it's a state highway, we
We
need to
can-
find
yeah.
out if there's any restriction
We can talk to District 2 down here.
on changing that, and then we'll need to,
The only thing that I know of, you might have to post it for
As
so
a
many,
policy.
so many
Yeah.
days.
yeah.
Yeah, it'll have to be warned.
Then if nobody
Right.
complains, well, it's automatic.
Okay, so we need
Yeah,
to,
it'll follow the full adoption policy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
so if we can make connection with the highway,
Yep, we'll do that.
state highway department, we can find that out. All right, is there anything else under, old business? All right, then let's move on to other business, and this is a notice that you,
I think everybody got a copy of that.
The good morning letter?
yeah, the good morning letter.
Yeah,
That came in an email that Craig didn't get, but that I did receive, and Will should have got.
I didn't get it.
She
You didn't get
forwarded,
either?
forwarded
No.
to me.
Well,
I didn't see it.
anyway, this is the list for local meetings to discuss the possibility of the towns having to take on, the municipality having to take on law enforcement responsibilities.
S-17.
This is a bill that's been being sponsored by our Senator Wright, who seems to think it's a good idea that we not contract with the state police and use them anymore for these types of services, that we in fact either have our own law enforcement or we contract with the sheriff's department.
Has he ever used the sheriff's department?
She,
Oh, yeah, maybe if she tried, then she
But
probably realized what was wrong.
They won't investigate an accident,
Who?
sheriff's department.
They won't investigate a lot of stuff, Irv.
No, they
I was
won't.
here when we met.
That's
with
why
them.
we got out of, away from it.
Yeah, I know. I was one of the guys that voted with you.
But an accident, that's up to state police. That was way back when we did that one.
So basically,
It's a pretty simply written blanket kind of a
Yeah.
generic, it's not
but it
vetted
has
out yet.
huge implications.
Well, of course it does,
Yeah.
because it's a financial bill as well as a responsibility shifting bill, big time. This is
Why don't we just do a
requiring
marshal?
requiring municipalities to.
No, a lot of those sheriffs.
I mean, this,
Well, I mean,
Many
we need somebody,
municipalities are
we need somebody
subsidized.
to do municipal, overseeing policing. We don't need somebody to be a ticket hander out for speeding tickets and parking violations. We want somebody.
though,
But that's part of the revenue stream that
Well, my
offsets the
point is
cost.
that when we had Officer Clark meet with us, he told us basically he's not interested in investigating any crime. All he's interested in doing is handing out parking tickets and speeding tickets, and what we told him is that we weren't really that interested in it. We want more, civil matters taken care of, not just,
Yeah.
speeding violations.
Well, You don't want people doing
So
donuts-
therefore, we
donuts
need
on
the
the
state
ball field.
police if they're
Right.
not willing to offer
Or busting out the
those
windows.
other things.
well, needless to say, this is going, if this bill moves through, this is going to have an impact on our budget for next year.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Because quite frankly, we usually put, 20,000 in for law enforcement with state police for a contract. I'm not certain what that would relate to with the sheriff's department. It wasn't many hours, as I recall. When
Yeah,
we-
$50 an hour, no, it works out to whatever it is, 10 hours a week or something.
Yeah,
It's
something
not
like
much.
that, yeah.
So.
And there is an offset by the revenue stream that comes back on tickets, but those are down considerably, obviously, with the state police, but
She doesn't have anything else to worry about?
Don't know, you have to ask her, I don't know the one.
Well,
she's got a lot of
maybe we
things,
should
she's got
send
a lot
some
of things going on.
correspondence to figure out what's really worthy of discussing.
Well, at this point in time, she's introduced a bill, so there's no, other than attending these
Right.
meetings and voicing your concerns, there's nothing we can really do about it. We have to legislature to vote on it. So, I just want to make sure you all were aware that that was something in the queue that's going to come back up.
And there
Probably
will
runs
be, and there will be
behind.
discussion about it at various meetings
Yeah.
around town.
All right, then let's go through the meeting schedule. We have a Board of Abatement meeting, and Steve, I was instructed to tell you, because it's at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, if you can't make it, that's okay, we have a quorum.
Thank you for passing that on.
Okay. Anyway, there's a Board of Abatement meeting on the 19th at 3 o'clock here. There's the public hearing for the town plan, which is prior to our next select board meeting at 5:30 PM. Our next regular meeting is at 6 PM that same night. And then we have,
Will has made arrangement with,
Yes.
and do you know who's coming down?
Sarah is.
It is, Sarah?
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
we are going to have Sarah Jarvis from VLTC to come discuss with the select board and/or the town residents the different intricacies of having a change, a shift in governance to a town manager and/or a town administrator. And that's at 5:30 on the 3rd. There will be a mailing that goes out, it hasn't been written yet, that will go to every household like we did with the trash letter.
And I saw that Rick has posted it.
It's posted there, it was in the church newsletter, or the church mailing.
Yep, congressional.
And is it on the sign yet?
That one isn't, no. The public hearing for the town plan is, obviously, Bridge 42 and all that stuff until today, so. No, we'll get that up. And the mailing probably may go out later this week or early next week. There's been conversation, you don't wanna send it too early. and have
Well,
it
yeah,
sit on the table
people
for
forget
a month
about it.
and
Yeah,
forget.
exactly.
You don't wanna send it too late and have people say, well, I would have made it, like, no.
Yeah.
So, but in
There's always that
discussion,
window.
in discussion, large font, very simple, 2 sentences, do this.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it'd
Be
be nice
there,
to
be square.
be nice to see a good turnout.
well, I think we need to make it very clear, that we will not take any action that night. This is
Correct.
strictly informational.
Informational.
Yep.
so that people can understand when we get to the question and are actually going to have a vote, what we're actually talking about. So if anybody asks you, or if you see anybody who has expressed interest in something like that form of government, let them know this meeting is happening, so that we don't get, as we still are currently getting people on the trash that say, I didn't know the days changed. How many months later? So yes, as much information as you can disseminate on this, the better we are as far as letting people know what's happening. So is there anything else? Okay, then I'll entertain a motion under 1 VSA section 313A3 to move into executive session to discuss the evaluation of an employee. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of going into executive session signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes, so we will go into executive session at 7:18.
Well, let's make 7:25. Are you gonna do anything coming up?
No, there will be no resolution, this
So
is
let's go
evaluation.
7:25 and we can get Richard backed up. And am I here? Not here.
Yes, you, can you hear, please?
At 7:25.
Okay, that works.